What happens when 90% of the media is controlled or owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? Fact becomes fiction? Fiction becomes fact? When does news become propaganda?
Hello everyone, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky, episode 0x34, 53rd episode. Hello Rocco.
How you doing today? Doing good?
I'm alright.
Great,
Yeah, it's
great.
later in the day these days with the show, so it's easier, I guess. It's weirder.
Yeah.
So we just played a commercial there that was originally intended to be played on Discovery Science, along with the Kennedy one and the Satoshi one and the Assange one before it. But including the Kennedy one, they were censored. They wouldn't let us show them
Oh boy.
on Discovery Science. So anyway, it's interesting. So they will be going out more, and they're mostly about liberty and transparency and things that blockchain and DEN and all the things we're doing apply.
Okay.
And in particular, this week, the ENA group, if anybody knows, the Eternal News Archive was sprung from a few of our community members that were interested in particular in anti-censorship use of blockchain. So they set up, and we've tried to help them out doing various things, but they're trying to archive different types of channels, different types of information, and Q is one of them that is what I would consider to be endangered speech, and that's one of the things that ENA is seeking basically. For history alone, for no other reason than that, at least to basically make sure that things are stored and that can be proven that this is the actual content, right? So very controversial stuff sometimes, I'm sure, right? And as a matter of fact, the Save the Tweet bot, that hooks into the Eternal system that we built out, was, I believe, yesterday? It's either yesterday or the day before, was suspended from Twitter, and we don't know if it's I don't know if it's permanent or not, but it had been suspended before for quoting such people as McAfee. The bot quotes the tweet that's being saved, so it got banned along with McAfee at one point. And I don't know why it got banned this time, so we'll see. But we're working on other solutions for that. So that's why that was there today. And it's all going into DEN. They're basically posting everything in there, so there's potential to do whatever discussion around the posts that might happen, but in the very least to at least have it on chain for the future, as it happens. So it's pretty cool stuff, I think. And there will be some updates. They want me to say ENA will have some updates pretty soon that will broaden its scope and mission, and basically make it something that everybody can take part in. So it won't just be this small group building stuff and doing stuff. That hopefully it will be, building out product suites and making it easier for people to capture stuff that we wouldn't otherwise know about. So anyway, cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So go to Dan, look at layers, subscribe to it or ignore it if you don't want to see it. If it's too controversial for your blood, I don't know about you, Rocco.
Hey man, my skin is thick. I could take anything. So.
Okay, right on. That's good. That's why you're here. Okay. I will tell you, any Dragonchain community member worth their salt has pretty exceedingly thick skin, I think, by this point, right? So
True, very true.
you've either developed it or already had it.
Or you just got it for the Reddit proposal.
Wow, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So let's see here. The next thing we have is a new voting widget for Den. And this was something that, yes, if you hate it, blame me. It came out of my head. I had to really push the guys to put this in place, but it was basically to reduce the number of clicks that it takes to vote, because we have some interesting dynamics in the economy, where the more matter you have, the more energy you have. You can see here that Tenacious Dragon has like 16,000. I mean,
Wow, look at
that's
that.
a lot. It's
Yeah.
16 full mining days worth of matter, and therefore has a lot of energy. And so you can put more energy into a single vote than just it's not like Reddit and you have one upvote. You can kind of gauge it. You can say, okay, that deserves 1,000 energy versus 2.
It's nice. Yep.
So try it out. Tell us if it's horrible. Tell us if you love it. Mostly tell us if you love it.
Yeah.
If it's horrible, direct message me. All right.
Just jack it up to 610.
Yes. And it should give you time to cancel, whatever. I mean, it I think is a good user experience. So that's for what it's worth. And then the execution, the developers, they killed it. It's amazing. I freaking love what it works perfectly, right? I have to make sure we get it into the mobile app, which will be coming soon, right? Mobile app.
I'm excited for that. Yeah,
Yes,
that'd be great.
yes. Let's see here. Next up, we announced just this week that we've added something that we've been waiting for quite a while, which is a new security value metric, which is intended to be more obvious to people who don't necessarily understand the math or don't understand the crypto and how some of it works. I mean, if you've looked at it, the Eternal system, you look at a tweet, maybe it's been deleted, maybe not, but you can actually look at the raw data. You can see where it went up the chain inside of Dragonet, and then where it ended up on Ethereum or Bitcoin and others, other interchains. And yet, if you look at it, this one in particular, there's 38,000 zettahashes. Sometimes it shows yottahashes. Rocco, do you know what a zetta or yottahash is, or comparison between?
I knew it about 2 weeks ago, and I've already forgotten.
Really, that's impressive, because I've never
I
looked.
stored
Because I was
someplace.
it's a word. So one way or another,
Seems to be electricity.
what we're doing here is we're taking the current hash power, current measured hash power. We're tracking it over time for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. We could do it for other chains, but we limited it to that because Bitcoin by itself is pretty much enough. But we take it and use a modern, the most efficient miner that's out there, and we basically say, okay, it would take approximately this much power per block, and I think it's even measured by per hour anyway. But the amount of power applied for that miner, and we extrapolate it with the hash power, and then we use a metric for reasonable cost of energy. Let's say in China or in hydroelectric in Washington State here, right? And from that we pull up a dollar figure that continually increases. And right now we only have this in the Beaksy proof system that we just deployed last week. But this whole UI and everything is rolling over to Eternal soon, and then it will also be in Den, and it'll be available for any node running on Dragonchain, that you would be able to apply this and show a proof to either to your customers, to yourself internally. It's still the privacy still held and all that, but this system is now possible everywhere. So
Just more transparency.
Yeah, we're really excited about it because this is something that basically says $31 million has been applied for that single transaction, which, if I'm not wrong, I think was either, it might have been 100ths of a cent. I'm not sure where it's tuned. It might be the lowest fee. I'm not sure what we're running this at, but
Right.
that There will be a second metric too that will take the current hash power, because it's likely to be higher than the beginning, especially if it was days or weeks ago, and basically run that as what it would cost to attack that transaction right now on those chains. So it's some pretty cool stuff. So
Wow, yeah. Definitely.
anyway, yeah. So, all right, you're up next, Rocco, with the week 5 contest.
All right. So, open source money contest week 5 winner, right? Winner chicken dinner. I just actually had some chicken, so here we go. The prize amount was 68,500 dragons, which was the number of Dragonchain gang followers on Twitter. So, that's an awesome amount of followers right there. So, if you don't win, don't worry, you're still entered for the grand prize, which will be drawn next Thursday. And the contest right now for the 68,500, there was actually less than 3,000 entries total. So your odds of winning are great. Forget scratch off tickets. I'll take this any day over that. And since the grand prize will be next week, guys, stay in tune. It's going to be very cool. 500,000 dragons up for grab. Woo! Dang.
That should be pretty sweet, right? You
Yeah.
build up some time real fast.
Seriously.
Cool, all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We're working on, by the way, a couple of partners, hopefully to convince them to run some notary nodes, some L5, L4 nodes. So that, there will be some pretty cool stuff. So whoever wins, there should be a good leg up on competition on whatever node they're going to run. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's all the announcements and all that. So we'll be right back with our guests after this.
BXC Exchange is a safe, easy-to-use, U.S.-compliant exchange.
Because cryptocurrency is such a young industry, there's still a real lack of transparency.
So we are actually using Dragonchain's technology to help solve these transparency issues.
BXC partnered with Dragonchain to take advantage of their anti-fraud and transparency systems.
So using Dragonchain's technology, we're actually able to use provably fair tech to verify that our order books and trades and executions are all very transparent to our users. This alone makes BXC the only provably fair exchange in the entire world.
I have more than 20 years experience doing large, technically complex projects. One of the things that I was really pleased with in working with Dragonchain is that it allowed us to do the integration with their technology very quickly.
That's what makes Dragonchain and this a perfect partnership.
All right. So we're back, and with us we have Alexander de Jong. I hope I pronounced it right. I think I got it right.
You did. No, it's
Okay,
great.
good deal. We have Joel Comm and Travis Wright from Bad Crypto Podcast. Thanks.
What's
for
happening,
joining
brother?
us.
Greetings.
And I've been on their show probably 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
but you have been on. It does feel like a long time. Hard to believe we've been doing this for 3 years.
It was a while ago. So
Yeah.
anyway, excellent. So,
You didn't have that epic beard then.
well, yeah, things.
You were all clean shaven and stuff. Yeah, that was pre-Duck Dynasty. Joe.
Yes. Yes. I've been through a lot, right? So this is to cover. Okay, so we've changed the format a little bit, but what we're gonna do is go through topics, let everybody kind of answer. Feel free to kind of jump in and something silly, ask whatever, do whatever you want to do. Keep it pretty loose, but if you can, please introduce yourselves first. Alex.
Sure. Well, I'm Alex, Alexander de Jong. I'm a student at Leiden University. I previously studied international studies, but right now I'm just waiting for the semester to start again and enter my security management master. I have some experience in antivirus through internships within the cybersecurity sector, and even some brief experience in blockchain through research as a student consultant in my time at university. I'm half Dutch, half American, and I just generally like technology in general. Sure.
Right on. All right. Who Joel or Travis? Who do I go to first?
You roll the dice. I mean, it's
Alphabetically, Joel goes first.
Alphabetically, I go first. I'm Joel Com. I've been doing internet stuff since the beginning of the web, and I'm an author, I'm a speaker, podcaster, co-host of the Bad Crypto podcast with this character here next to me.
Yep. I'm Travis Wright. I am the co-host of Bad Crypto as well. I'm also an author and speaker and marketer. We've been doing marketing stuff for a very long time.
Copycat.
Yeah. I'm just like Mr. Joel, except better looking and cooler and more funny. I was once upon a time I was almost a Dragonchain millionaire. Now I'm a Dragonchain hundreds there, and I was really excited about that. And at one point I was a top 20 Dragon Slumber Score participant.
Wow.
Which cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep that, and I'm not bitter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Keep it silly. There you go.
That's right. Okay. Very good. Okay. So first topic, the Twitter hack and the 3 arrests. So we had a 17-year-old that was supposedly the mastermind, is what I had read. Mm-hmm. Right, and they got a perfect picture of him. So, if you had the power to hack anyone's account, who would it be, and what would you tweet? Joel.
Wow. Well, that's just so outside my character to hack anybody's account. I've got to express some empathy here for a criminal. I would want to hack into Trump's account.
Okay.
Okay. And
tweet about what? Tweet about what?
I probably say the same thing he says. You are fake news. So no, actually, so when I was thinking, I'm thinking of seeing his direct messages. Right, I'm not so much in tweeting as I am seeing what's happening behind the scenes.
Because I'm sure he does that on Twitter. Travis.
It would probably be some political figure of some sort, but not just to see what they're talking about. I think that is interesting. I mean, there's some people had hacked all those celebrities so they could see the boob pictures back in the day with the fappening. That was pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of that hacker.
That was the hacker 4chan, I think.
The hacker known as 4chan. Yeah, it would be interesting just to watch Trump's account as he gets just massive amounts of hate all day long. That'd
be fun.
Yeah. If you could just pick out the most hateful things that people say, it's one of those things I always laugh about it because you can't combat hate with hate.
Well, let me. I can give you. You can just get my account. You can. I'll give you my account. Yeah, you can. That'd be good. All right, Alex.
All right. Well, my first answer was already taken twice. So either, I guess, Mike Pence or Sarah Palin. But I think more importantly, Chad Kroeger from Nickelback, just so I can type in some twit longer or something like that, just to make him admit that his music sucks.
That's
good. That's very good. Like okay. All right, Rocco.
All right, Hillary Clinton, and I would tweet out Epstein, ... You morons, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, right.
Right on. Right on.
A great partier.
Right on. And just so you know, because I think most of you were right that this is the correct answer. Okay, right here. Okay. And I just can't understand why they would, and we talked about it. You imagine if the best hack, at least the most epic hack ever, would be something that no one would know for weeks that it was going on. Because, it's like the marketing people don't typically, it's like, oh, it's something scheduled. And as long as the tweet sounds like the person, it would go unnoticed. And you just keep doing that. After a while, you just be a team member of whatever account it was. Anyway. Okay.
You gotta admit though, to be sending out tweets from like CZ and Tron saying they're going to be giving out cryptos and this stuff. I mean, that and they got blue check marks, and you're looking at it, and if you're not, if it's too good to be true, we always tell our fans it's too good to be true. It's clearly too good to be true. But when CZ's like, hey, send me some Bitcoin, and maybe I'll send you some BNB, you're going, what? Whoa! So like that was pretty brilliant from the thought perspective. the staying out of trouble perspective wasn't too bright. You're not going to stay in your mom's basement in Florida. You probably ought to move somewhere where they're not going to extradite you.
You know what? I have another one. You know what would be really funny? It would be if you could cross Justin's son Tron with Vitalik, so that they're tweeting each other's intent. That would be brilliant, because it's like Justin's son was like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant stuff. Where did this come from, right? Anyway, all right. Next up, Ethereum Classic, multiple 51% attacks. Do you think Ethereum Classic will survive? Alex?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't follow too much on cryptocurrency, but I mean, if I recall, I think a while back ago, Bitcoin dropped a lot of value, and I think it was able to pick itself up a little bit. So I think there's a possibility, but then again, I don't know too much on Ethereum.
Okay. All right.
I'm surprised that it's holding its value, right? That it hasn't tanked in the market. It's $7.10 right now. It's only for the last 7 days, which is when most of this has happened. It's only down 2.3%. So confidence at least appears to be high, or people aren't aware this is happening.
Yes.
It seems like maybe, I think with all the hype around Ethereum 2.0, that maybe there's just not as many people on that blockchain, right? And so if you can do 51% attacks, there's not enough nodes out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it seems to me that's a sign of a dying blockchain or a dying ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I will say, do you know? I read something just a week or two ago that one of their big supporters was pulling out, or at least they, respectfully, they didn't have enough funding to keep maintaining nodes on Ethereum Classic Network. And I can't remember who it was.
There's no signs. Pulling out's normally a good idea.
Yeah. Rocco.
Yeah, what Joel said is pretty interesting. I mean, it's only down 2-something%, but
yeah, that's
third time's the charm. So I think that will be the deciding factor.
Well,
Let's see if it.
They had one 8 months ago, something like maybe a year ago. They had a 51% attack, right? And we used it as an example that we're interchanged with Ethereum and Ethereum Classic and Bitcoin. So any transactions that went through on our network during that time didn't suffer. I mean, they didn't have Ethereum Classic that you could trust the security for, but it didn't matter, right? I mean, Bitcoin, if Bitcoin gets attacked, and does anyone remember? And I would have to look up the year. I didn't even think about it until just now, but there was a near 51% attack on Bitcoin way back when that Dutch company, Alex, if there was a Dutch company that, in fact, I was running some mining in. I can't remember. Is it CEX? I can't remember what it was. Seems something like that. It had a cool logo. It was Dutch. They had a cool logo. That happens, I think. That they, because they had so much of the hash power, that they voluntarily, they requested people to get off their platform so that a 51% attack wouldn't be. And at the time, even I was like, people made a big deal about it, but it would still be quite a bit of work to actually attack the transactions. It's an interesting thing, though.
Get off my platform.
I don't understand the need. Like, I get it that, not everybody agrees with the way governance is handled and they want to make a different coin and do it their own way. But I don't know anybody building anything on Ethereum Classic. I don't know.
Well, it is a very, and I wonder if the pricing thing is because it's a very philosophically driven. The whole reason that Ethereum Classic is there is because people didn't want to have a fork because people lost money on a project, right? Mm-hmm. Which I was there too. I philosophically agree with them. Now, pragmatically it doesn't maybe matter.
It doesn't work because Ethereum is one, right? It's just like there's no point in Bitcoin SV. Right.
I think there's no Bitcoin in Bitcoin SV because of the leader and what they're doing. But I think diversity is good. I think having more chains, in fact, more algorithms is better because all of them are more secure, they're safer. The more when you start cloning them, it's not as valuable as when you make a new one, right? But I don't know. That's
Now
why
I'm going to get. I get the hate mail now. That's coming at me.
Great. That's what we're here for. Okay. Next topic: Congress talking about removing taxes on crypto. So what are your thoughts here? Should they, Travis?
Well, I'm going to use the quote, Mr. Joe Combs' famous quote: "Nothing is anything until it's something." And so, this reminds me of Congress. They do this all the time. Like, oh, we've seen you've done all these horrible things. We're going to write you a sternly worded letter. So, like, Congress is really good about talking about shit and not doing shit. And so, until they do shit, then it'll be shit.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, Congress has got a lot of members. It can take a lot of people to even bring something to the floor. So you've got a few people that are saying, "Hey, we need to change this," and odds are nothing will happen.
Oh yeah. Well, that's not the question, though. That's not the question. The question is, should they? Should they?
Well, anytime they say take it easy on taxing stake and rewards, yes, I think that the IRS and our government in general should take it easy on taxation, period. I think we're overtaxed. I think we're overregulated, and back off. Let me live my life.
This is only staking rewards. So they're talking about a segmented part of crypto where people are staking and they're getting their earnings. So it's only really one part of the whole thing.
Yeah, this came from a lobbyist. What do you want to bet? Somebody who's making a lot of rewards in staking has some friends in Congress and has some extra money.
I won't pay my tax. It's a mistake.
Yes. Alex, your American half can answer this.
I would say, I think actually keeping at least some form of tax, I think would be all right. Just even a little bit, extra government revenue, and I think it would help prevent at least some people from, as you mentioned, buying out congressmen to know, when these staking reward taxes increase or decrease and go on their Bitcoin trade. But at least some sort of tax just to help with government revenue.
Okay. Now, and I'll tell you, I've thought, and the reason I even added this in is I've thought for a while that it was odd that, early internet, if you guys remember, early internet, there were they specifically called out there are no taxes interstate. That if you order something from some company out of state, you're not going to pay any taxes. To keep things simple, to let it to foster the technology, to let it develop, and I think it was particularly important and smart to do that, which is unlike the government. Okay, but you imagine that's trillions of dollars that came out of that. And the difference, and that was very engineering focused, because a lot of the people that were early in the internet were either university or telco or engineers, whereas in crypto everybody's a banker. And I think you can't no matter where you go in crypto, they're all bankers. I mean, Goldman Sachs, people come from, and so that's I think the problem, because they're all we want it to be like the old system, even though that's not the point of it. So anyway, my 2 cents. Sorry.
Centralizer's going to centralize.
Yeah. It's and there are points. I would say I would love to see actual taxes handled on blockchain, not to tax the crypto, but to say we should be putting a revenue and the taxes and the government spending all on chain. So there's transparency. You can see, well, wait, where the hell did this $10 million or $10 trillion go to? That type of thing.
It's a great idea. It's a great concept. But when you realize that the Federal Reserve Bank is ran by a group of trustees, and when we pay the IRS, it doesn't necessarily go to the government. It goes to the trustees of the Federal Reserve Bank. So that money would never be tracked on the blockchain because it sort of circumvents government anyway.
Yeah. Well, and it's there is no actual fixed supply of that money, so they can print money anytime they want, as we've seen recently. Yeah.
We did an amazing interview. We'll say amazing because it was our show, but we had a conversation with Max Kaiser, and I believe it was episode 42 badco.im /424 or 426. it was one of the best interviews that we've had, and he really laid it all out about what he calls the cantillionaires, is because worldwide they printed about $30 trillion worth of new currency this year since COVID, but most of that stays with that 0.1%, those really rich, those uber bankers. That money doesn't move, and so these really rich people get even more rich, and now they have more money to buy politicians and more money to buy media outlets and more money to buy corporations and sit on board seats. And so it's a big club, like George Carlin said, and we ain't in it.
Oh yeah,
True.
that's the right answer.
Sorry. And
Good.
going back to your thing, with such a blockchain system where you can see everything that the government does in terms of transactions, who gets to see that? You know, I think that's a question that should also be raised in that as well. Is it taxpayers? Is it everybody? Is it corporations and taxpayers? We got to decide, if that ever happens, who gets to see what, essentially.
Right. Okay. Next, there is a current Reddit bake-off sale going on right now, and it's this bake-off proof of concept. Basically, in order to scale Ethereum for the use of tokenizing their community points, right? So it's basically kind of like, either Reddit Gold or Karma, but applied to crypto. And they tried to do this a few years back, and I was all excited about it back then. I was a big Redditor. And since then, it's gotten more and more toxic, so I don't typically go back there. But what do you guys think about scaling Ethereum and other blockchains? And when I talk about scaling, I mean, transaction volume, of course. I'm not talking about price at all. I'm talking about transaction volume and fees, right? How do you make it possible for a company like Reddit to actually use Ethereum? Joel.
The fees are a huge issue with Ethereum. In fact, we were creating NFTs on Ethereum, and we've pretty much abandoned it for Wax because the fees are negligible and it's faster. And so I wouldn't propose using Ethereum at all to scale. I would use a different chain.
Yes. Okay. Travis?
I would answer this, but I'm not baked.
You can get baked.
I can get baked before I answer the bake off. Yeah. This is a family show. There's no bong hits in this. Now I will say that originally that's one of the things that got Joel and I into the crypto space was like right after the election. We were talking a lot about politics, and we started to notice censorship happening. And we were like, you know what? It would be really. And we had this conversation with this guy who wanted to build a decentralized Reddit/Twitter kind of functionality called DeepSea, DeepSee.io. So you can do a deep sea into different content to see how legit or real it is, and you can predict which bias it is. Is this left bias? Is this right bias? Who else do these writers write about? Who are they beholden to? Who are their advertisers? That way, and who are their lobbyists? So you can kind of get an idea of how real the content is. Then the guy said, "Oh wait, no, I want to make a decentralized YouTube instead." No, never mind. I ran out of money. And so, when you're wishy-washy, that tends to happen. But it got us into the crypto space. It got us, launching back crypto. Because we said, oh, if we're going to be building this deep sea thing, then we should probably have a podcast, because the podcast can be a pretty cool way to market this in a fun way. And so the idea of Reddit being a crypto type thing is really exciting. But the problem is now is that Reddit is mostly owned or has a big investment by the Chinese. And you can see how they just bend over backwards for them and get rid of a lot of content, get rid of subreddits. They get rid of the subreddit that the President of the United States' fans are on, and that's okay somehow. And it doesn't matter if you like Trump or not. It doesn't matter to me. I'm more of a centrist, and if I do that political sort of test, I'm actually more into the left. I'm very close to Gandhi whenever I do that sort of political test, truly. But it seems like the left has moved so far left that now I'm right because of how far the whole thing has moved. But the Reddit thing bothers me because, if you go into politics or world news and all this other stuff, all those admins and those moderators are so biased that they're skewing information and perspectives of people by creating these narratives and fueling these narratives that it just becomes so very toxic, as you mentioned, and it's just unusable by people with a brain.
Yep, totally. I totally agree. Yep. Alex.
Well, going back to the original question, with fees, I mean, if they're using something with high fees, I would just suggest use a different platform, use a different coin, blockchain, just so they can not accrue as much fees. I think that's it. Really,
there is the issue though. It's like if you do that, because you could use Ethereum Classic, right? As an example, if I take the same code, give or take, that I'm running on Ethereum, and it's like, oh crap, $5, $50, I can't do that. I move over to Ethereum Classic, it's orders of magnitude cheaper, but the security isn't there, right? So by the way, basically, I'm pushing Dragonchain here, just so you guys, I'm giving you a little hint of what I'm talking about. That we basically can we secure it to them, but we don't have to use them, and/or you use it in batch, and there are various traditional software scaling methods to solve this problem, and nobody's talking about them. And you go look at the Reddit stuff, and we're getting trolled. We're getting trolled for too many votes. It's like, oh, we had 140 votes on one post. It's like, you guys are paying for votes. It's like, dude, if I'm paying for votes, I'm gonna be freaking Justin Sun. I'm gonna have 30,000 votes in here. I'm gonna blow you guys all out. I'm not gonna get 140 votes.
Dude, that's
it's like people.
I'm gonna Justin Sun that shit, and you're gonna see.
I mean, I don't even get it. And then they're like, they'll attack us on. We had a little demo video that, if you're lucky, we'll show it later. That shows our 24-hour demo, right? And we have a voice synthesis, because I told the guys, they want me to read this script off over that video, because we need something other than just music while you're watching it. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear my droning voice for that 5 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever it is. So it's like, let's use the voice synthesizer, right? And so and people were actually calling that out. I was like, I can't believe it's like, it's the most ridiculous thing. Reddit is toxic by nature. But then you add the politics and the crypto together in Reddit, and it's probably the worst thing on earth, right? So I'm probably going to lose this bake-off here, because they'll probably listen. But anyway, we don't expect to win.
Reddit, you're the worst thing on earth. Maybe you'd like to use Dragonchain.
It's not. I don't know if it's the Chinese. I don't know if it's the anyway. Whatever.
I had to leave Reddit. I haven't been on there.
I had a few accounts, and I've been banned on so many different subreddits. I have one account with a pretty reasonable amount of karma that has no posts or comments anywhere. You're like, how is this possible? Because every damn subreddit I've been in has been destroyed and erased. So anyway,
it's amazing to me that you can have all these raunchy porn subreddits, but like something that is against the official narratives of what they're trying to push, then you're just the worst, most evil thing ever. So I pretty much only use Reddit for the porn Reddits now.
So ridiculous. Right on. Okay, Rocco, I didn't ask you. What do you think about that? You've looked at the Bake Off, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's super toxic. It makes you wonder if like those guys are getting paid by somebody just to be on there to be toxic. That's how crazy it is, right?
It's like what do they call that? The I can't remember. Rules for Radicals. That's the whole accuse the others of what you're doing. Yes, that's what it is. That really might be it. It's like, well, we better say whatever. Okay, next up, Zeus Capital. Did they short Link, or is this coordinated by Link? Travis.
Dude, so I tweeted this. They had and then I got attacked by so many what they call Link Marines.
Yep.
Like, you aren't shilling correctly. You have lost all credibility now. You know nothing. You're dumb.
We're going to stop listening to the show we don't listen to anyway.
Right. Yeah, we're not going to listen to your show anymore that I've never heard of. But, so it was weird. The article had a whole lot of great information about it. And when you're reading it, you're like going, It seemed to me, and I don't know if it's true, but it was a really in-depth report, 2 or 3 blog posts worth of information of why Chainlink is not what it says it is, and then they're saying, "Hey, short this all the way down to 7 cents," right? And so, did they create this because they want to short it? Well, if not, if they created it because they want to short it, they're failing miserably. They're up 36% this week. Chainlink is. So if that was the case, it backfired. Or there's just so many Pollyannas who buy into Chainlink that they're not technical or gone into the technical path. I've not dove into Chainlink's technicals. I will say this: I was up for the head of communications role for Chainlink, and I didn't get it. So I hope it goes to 7 cents.
That's so funny. All right,
I'm
Joel.
not bitter. I will tell you. I'm good.
Yeah, we actually right before earlier today we recorded our news episode, Bad News for the week, that comes out tonight, and we talked. I made a point of saying that we probably should do a show around this because we need to go down the rabbit hole. It's a fascinating story, if nothing else. Like, let's find out what the truth is. Maybe have somebody from Chainlink on to share their story, and maybe somebody from Zeus Capital. Like, let's hash it out here.
Dude, that would be amazing.
Right?
Can you have it on video? Can they be in the same room?
We don't want there to be blood. It's not the blood crypto podcast.
At each corner.
It's just bad. So I don't know. I mean, I anytime I read anything from anybody, I always go, all right, how do I know that's true? Right?
Well,
just because somebody says it, I don't know.
Yeah. And I do want to know, like, if this has happened to us a lot, so I do have some empathy where people will claim stuff that's total BS. It's never been, though, from an account like that where it's, a real account. It's always been from some crazy person somewhere overseas that isn't real. It's some model that happens to care about Dragonchain.
No, it's from Russian. It is from Russian. We come to hack your chain links.
And so I always answer. So that's the first thing I would think. If I was Link, why are they not? I mean, why is the leadership of Link not openly saying this is bullshit and here's why? Boom, 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 boom. Answer everything. You've had weeks. Do it. Anyway, that's a question I have. If you can ask him after you get him on, Alex.
Well, it is true. I mean, I've not heard about this story until really now, so I don't really know anything about it. I can't really comment on it. I'm sorry.
No worries. That's good. That's good. Rocco.
So yeah, I think Zeus contact Chainlink and said, "Hey, I know how we both can make some money here," but I thought Chainlink was gonna just bottom, like you said, 7 cents after this came out. It was like a 30-something page report, right? It was crazy, but I don't know what to make of it. But you're right, Joe. Like, how come Chainlink hasn't come out and said anything about this? That's kind of.
I will say
I read it because I want to know what they do.
That tweet's gone.
What's that?
That July 18th tweet, it's gone. It's deleted.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just looking at their Zeus Capital page right now because I was going to go and I want to, because they're talking about crypto's Wirecard. So Wirecard is some German company that's missing a couple of $1 billion, and a lot of these cards that were using debit cards were using Wirecard, and they're saying crypto's Wire. Are they talking about Crypto.com's Wirecard? How's that connected to Chainlink? I've not read this whole investigative report, but they don't reference that report anywhere on their Twitter anymore.
Wow. Oh. Okay. Interesting. All right. Next up, DeFi. Is this a fad, Joel?
I don't think it's a fad. I mean, who was it we just talked to the other day, Travis? We talked to so many people, I can't remember.
It was the head of the MakerDAO.
Yeah, MakerDAO. And, he made a really good case that the interview will be out in an upcoming episode. But it's not a rabbit hole that I've gone down very far, but it has my attention now, and I want to learn more. I love the idea, the promise of crypto being my own bank, right? And if this is... I'm trying to find the holes in it, so I'd be interested to see what the others here think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that interview really opened up our minds, and so what's great about it now is that just recently the whole DeFi space passed $1 billion in collateralized loans, right? That they were holding. Then the price of Ethereum started rising, and then MakerDAO was the very first one to pass $1 billion on its own. Now I saw the number is 12 billion because of total, because of how Ethereum has gone up. And so what's interesting about this is, as it was explained to me, is to say, for example, I put an Ethereum in and collateralized the loan, and so I put in one Ethereum, it's worth $400, where I can borrow against that 65%, and so I can get out my DAI tokens or whatever. But then say the price of Ethereum goes to $800, well, I still only have to replace the smaller amount that I had. I don't actually have to replace 2/3 of an Ethereum, I only have to replace the DAI that I borrowed, which was maybe 250 DAI. And so now the Ethereum's worth $800. Well, I want to get my Ethereum back, so I got to pay my 250 DAI back so I can unlock my vault, so I can actually go in and get my Ethereum. And so it does decentralize it in a fact where you're the bank. That vault is owned by you, and the only time that Maker will trigger that is if the price of Ethereum would tank over time and you are upside down in your loan. That's the time that they're going to liquidize your collateralized stuff that's inside that. So I think this is not a fad. I think this is a future trillion-dollar industry, if not multiple trillions, that's going to disrupt traditional banking in some very big ways.
Gazillions even.
Nice.
Yeah,
How about kabillions? Is my preferred?
No, just gazillions. Kabillions is too many.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
let's not get silly.
someday.
I mean,
all right. Alex, are you a banker?
No, not really. But I would say, stories like this that I think gets cryptocurrency a lot more attention. Things like why are there so many different currencies? It gets people more interested in getting into it, even if it's Ethereum, and even if they have very high transaction fees. It gets more people into it. Getting invested into it, potentially increasing the value.
Yep. Right on. Rocco, you have anything?
I think, right now, at this moment, I feel like it's a fad because I'll have friends I talk to and be like, dude, the coin, it's DeFi, I got to get in. And I feel like it's the ICO, the IEO type of thing that, like, it's a fad. Like, we got to get in. We got to get the DeFi, the coins and projects. But I think in the long term, they'll be very important, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But right now, at this moment, I feel like it's kind of a fad in that aspect.
Yeah, it's just early. I mean, it's like I think that these two guys probably convinced me, right? But one way or another, I'm not as interested in the fintech. I'm not as I get why, right? But it tends to be inflated in scope because it's money, and people naturally, it's like, oh, it's money. But I hesitate also because I know how much bad came into the crypto world when banking got involved, and everybody's like, oh, we need to regulate it. And, they were thinking that the price would go up because it's regulated. And anyway, so.
Well, luckily you're talking to the DeFi DoFi.
Nice.
That's us.
Okay. Good deal.
Also known as the blockchain blockheads.
Okay, next up, Adam Back slams Ethereum as a Ponzi scheme. Do you think that Ethereum is or was a Ponzi scheme? Alex?
I mean, charging all those transaction fees makes me think so. But, I mean, compared to others with how much they charge, come on. I mean, if people used it right, it was effective for a while, right? So, I mean, not really, but I don't know much about Ethereum, so I can't really say.
Okay, all right. Joel.
No, I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. I think that there's some shortcomings to it. I think the gas fees need to be resolved, but I don't know how you put this in the same phrase with BitConnect and Charles Ponzi and Bernie Madoff. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They're two different things.
Well, I would also say this, though, is that Adam Back is like one of the OG cypherpunks and cryptographers and could probably go through and analyze the code in a way that we can't. And so he maybe sees some things in there. When we talked to Max Kaiser said Ethereum's a big Ponzi scheme. And when he talked to, when he talked to Vitalik, he basically said that digital scarcity is not important and there's no need for digital scarcity. He never got it. So basically, he's creating sort of another version of fiat. So Max Kaiser had a really good thought that Ethereum's crap.
Yeah. Max Kaiser also said
Bitcoin is great.
He also said that everything that's not Bitcoin is a shitcoin. Everything.
Yeah. Well, this guy here,
he wears yellow pants, doesn't he?
Larimer too, and Sellers. Like that means he's calling out EOS. He's calling out
everything.
All of them.
Yeah.
Dude, what do you say about Batcoin?
Yeah. Well, why you guys haven't done it? It's an odd thing, though. I will tell you, at least, and I don't know about Adam Back because I frankly don't care about Adam Back, but at least for Kaiser. I mean, when you consider it as a currency and a currency alone, and whether you consider it, okay, then even go further, is it a store of value or is it cash? That leads to a lot of different things. So, I think if you're looking at Ethereum, its primary purpose is not as a currency. It is not supposed to be what Bitcoin was. It is supposed to be a platform for a decentralized computer, right?
It facilitates the smart contracts.
Yes, and so the currency, although you could say maybe you would want on top of it, but there probably were some pretty early unknowns, which is one of our core, I guess, philosophical points that we made at Disney was that it's too hard for a company or a project to predict the economy when they don't know enough about what will come to it. It's like I'm gonna try to build this, and I can model a system, but it's a different thing entirely to say I'm gonna model a system that can never really change, and I'm gonna set the economy up front and just hope that 1 in a trillion I get it right. Satoshi was pretty brilliant at what he did. It probably could have been better, right? And that might have been part of it. It's like, well, it's maybe, and it's also how you know that Vitalik is probably not Satoshi, right? It's just different angles. I've actually, Garzik has said some things that made me think. I was like, oh, that doesn't seem economically something that Satoshi would say, right? But anyway, Rocco.
Although Vitalik's dad, Alexander, I believe is his name, he taught Vitalik at a really early age, and he's an OG and sort of keeps it on the down low. So, like, who knows? It's like maybe it's Nick Szabo, maybe it's Vitalik's dad, maybe Adam Back. Who knows? Just because all of them have said, well, I don't think the real identity of Satoshi is necessary. None of them would say if they are or they aren't. And so the only one who does is Craig Wright, who's not related to me. Thank God.
Are you sure?
He's not related. I'm very sure. Oh, he's incorrect.
Very good. Yes. Okay, Rocco, what do you think?
No, I don't think it's a Ponzi scheme. Just for one word, is Vitalik, and that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, Vitalik's like he's awesome. So okay. Next up,
we interviewed Vitalik at ETH Denver. I think back in February it was, and we got him to slightly smile.
Yeah,
wow, dude,
nice.
that's
too. He was like,
that's awesome.
It was hilarious too. He was laughing on the inside.
That's cool. That's great. That's all it takes. All right. So next up, who is Satoshi? Is it Adam Back, Jeff Garzik, or Nick Szabo?
No.
Joel. Okay. No. Travis.
I personally think it's Szabo. Because I mean, he wrote didn't he write Bit Gold or something early on, or what was it? What was that? He wrote Bit Cash, or he wrote something back in the day. And a lot of the verbiage that's used in the white paper is the same verbiage that's in his paper. And he doesn't actually, at the end of the Satoshi white paper, doesn't reference Nick Szabo's work at all. And so to me, that was always peculiar. Now, it's either them or it was the NSA who created it. Because the NSA had something that they released in 1996. And you should dive in, and it was called Digital Currency as a Digital Scarcity or something. But it was the NSA, and somebody on the team was a female who had a last name that was very close to Satoshi. So there is a theory that the NSA created Bitcoin down the road, because they've all talked about having a one world currency down the road, and what better way than to have a digital one that's tied to some sort of microchip, very similar to the one that Microsoft came up with their patent earlier in the year, right? Mm-hmm. They have a patent that you got to get a microchip, and it tracks how much you move, and then if you're verified, then you get your rewards. And so it seems like there's something going on with Microsoft, with the cryptocurrency, and then potentially tied to the necessary, of being forced to get a vaccine. If you don't have the latest vaccine update, then your cryptocurrency miner attached to the microchip in your body is not going to work, and then you no longer get your universal basic income.
That's just a conspiracy theorist.
I drove down pretty deep on that one. Who knows?
Yeah, Travis latches onto a conspiracy and says it's a rabbit hole. But who knows? He might be right. You know why it's Nick Szabo? Because he won't come on the show. So screw that guy.
Oh wow. Alex.
I would say I have no clue either. You know, it could be really anybody. It could be the NSA. It could be some other person. It could be anybody. I think personally, the aura of mystery around it adds to the benefit of cryptocurrency. I believe. You know, no one knows who created it. Nobody knows where it really came from. We only have some ideas of it. You know, it makes it that much, I think, cooler. So why not keep it a mystery?
Yeah, I wish I had some anonymous person to blame Travis's troubles with Dragonchain on. That's what if I would have been smart.
Wait
Rocco.
a second. Now, there's a couple of people that you didn't mention. So here, the name of the white paper is "How to Make a Mint: The Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash." That was an NSA white paper in 1996. So, how to make a mint, the cryptography of anonymous electronic cash. But during the lawsuit with Craig Wright and the whole Kleiman estate, there was an unredacted mention of this dude named Paul LaRue, who was an international drug dealer and was the creator of one of these cryptographies. And he disappeared right when Satoshi's wallets were last touched. And so it was a really interesting idea that maybe this sinister guy who sounds straight out of James Bond movies, like he literally is a millionaire drug lord and a cryptographer and a hacker.
I remember that.
And Paul LaRue, Leroux, a criminal.
With a French accent, Travis.
That's interesting. Wow.
Paul LaRue.
Yeah. Cajun, right? This way when they put the X there when they came over. Anyway, Rocco.
I really like some of the stuff Travis just said. I mean, NSA, I always felt like it was some part of the U.S. government because the housing market, and looked like everything was just going to implode in the United States, and the U.S. dollar could have went straight to, Hudax. I always think someday it's going to go to zero for trillions of dollars in debt, and can't sustain that. But that's why Bitcoin is on the scene. But I always thought it was some part of the U.S. government, honestly.
Yeah, and in the end, it doesn't matter who it is. That's the good point of it, right? Hopefully, we don't learn who it is actually. But so I think that's everything. We're almost to an hour, so I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna even go. I had a couple more questions that were just filler, in case we needed them, but we don't. So, you guys want to tell me, what you're working on? Let's start with Alex. Anything you want to shill? Anything you're into right now that you're working on to look for?
Well, outside of looking forward to hearing more on the developments on blockchain and hopefully brushing up more on cryptocurrency, just waiting for my master's to start and doing other stuff during these trying times, during this nice 21st century plague. Dungeons and Dragons, amazing as usual.
Do you wear a mask when you go out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Where I am right now in Spain, you have to wear a mask.
Do you have a JoJo dragon?
I sadly do not.
Okay, Joel.
Work on that.
Yeah, well, Travis and I have actually been neck deep in creating a digital collectible trading card set called Blockchain Heroes, 50 heroes inspired by real blockchain and crypto personalities. And we have built an amazing community. It's actually going to be on the Wax blockchain, which is why I mentioned Wax. And the sale goes live on Saturday at noon Eastern time. We're expecting it to sell out really fast. It's been a lot of fun, and we're ready to get these cards into people's hands. bcheroes.com.
Nice.
Yeah, we had an amazing time last night. We actually have done some really cool partnerships with other companies in creating heroes and engaging our audience along the way. Last night we launched alongside Topps. We did a partnership with Topps and Garbage Pail Kids. Created the very first Topps digital crossover from one brand to the other, and Adam Baum from their Garbage Pail series flew into the Blockchain Heroes universe and became Atomic Atom. And Topps dropped about 4,000 of these base cards to everyone who had a Garbage Pail Kid on blockchain or a blockchain hero. And then what we did on our side was we dropped them, we dropped each one of them another card, but it was one of 5 different variations that they could have had. And so some of them got some very, very valuable cards last night for absolutely free.
Wow, that's nuts.
Have you guys thought about making like a deck of cards? Play some poker with that? That'd be pretty cool.
Not only did we think about it, but when we saw the artwork on these cards, we had some samples printed up, and we asked our community if they'd be interested in having, not playing cards, just collectibles. Would they be interested in having them? And they said overwhelmingly yes. And so during one of our live community meetings, we said, all right, go buy this NFT. Right now, we kind of did an NFT Kickstarter, as it were. We had 750 decks, and all 42 of them gone. All 750 of them gone in 42 hours. So we'll be printing those up and hopefully shipping them by the end of September.
Yeah, first time somebody had done an NFT Kickstarter. So we came up with a whole new thing. I was actually curious, Joe, when you were at Disney, did you ever think about Dragonchain for NFTs for Disney? Because Disney has all these amazing properties. Was that one of the driving forces of creating Dragonchain originally?
Yeah, that's a good question. NFTs didn't exist at the time, right? Yeah. It predated that, but we actually tried to convince them to do things because they were, in the parks as an example. They were working on, how do we make the lines less annoying? Theoretically, they wanted to make them fun. It was like, it's a line, guys. We should get rid of the lines. But either way, if you're gonna have a line and you're gonna play games on it, they should take real world items and make them make them scarce, provably scarce. You basically have a certificate of authenticity that's on chain. You can prove this is the one, and I can now sell it to someone. So if I win top 10 during a certain day on a certain ride, that I could get a certain pin that I could actually buy. So it'd be a way to monetize it because they were already running these games.
Like a fast pass kind of.
Yeah. And we had a whole system built up where they could do some crazy amazing things where you'd have a marketplace of the rides. So it's like, oh, if I really 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 want to take that ride right now, I can pay the price. Or if I'm of limited means, it's still fair. I can still just come back and I can get it in advance, and I have to wait 3 hours. But or maybe I take the ride with my kids that over dinner when all the rich people are eating dinner. We go and have the cheap rides. And there's a bunch of stuff that you could do there that they should be doing, if you ask me. But it's a long process to get anything like that changed.
They're not flexible and nimble. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Walt's really old and dead, so he's really hard to bend over.
Yes. Jeez. Yes. So, okay. So in closing, merch giveaway. The code is SHDL OSM-final. It's basically last weekend was the final episode of Open Source Money on Discovery Science. And it will be syndicated in some way. We're waiting to hear if it's going to go to one of these other networks, if it's going to go international on some of the partners, or if it's going to go straight to Netflix. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out soon. But we have a bunch of the merch up there now. Some of the coolest merch in crypto, the best logo in crypto, as you all know. And I love our crypto Twitter fans that always love the logo. They can't stop talking about how much they love the logo.
It is a great logo.
Yes. I do love the logo. It just makes me cry a little on the inside.
I'm sorry. Plus, there's always tomorrow, dude. Dude. You're horrible. Anyway, so watch again next Thursday. We'll have at least another pretty good guest on. I don't know if he'll be as good as these guys today, but should be fun. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.
Now get out of our room.
It's mooning finally. Dragon